So I'll be the first to admit that the minute I wake up, I'm also a victim of the doom scrolling epidemic. I grab my phone, I open up the TikTok application. I know you'd be mad at me. You'd want me to do my morning adhkar and my du'as the first thing I wake up in the morning. But I start scrolling. And I know that there's many youngsters out there that all they do is they scroll and they scroll. And they're so used to these short form contents. And I know that with every scroll, the ends of your dopamine nerve endings are frying. So my question to you is, what would you say is the value of sitting in a physical brick and mortar classroom as opposed to watching something on the screen or watching a 30-second clip about something?
Interesting question. I would say when you look at the app itself, the apps themselves, let's look at TikTok. When you look at TikTok, you would see the name itself. What does it tell you? Tick tock, tick tock. The time is going. So, in our life, for example, we were supposed to take that as an heads up that it's ticking, it's not going backwards, it's going forward. And we have to think of studying in person as a great reality of learning. And as you know, it happens to be said, ليس الخبر كالمعاينة, that seeking information and seeing information, it's not the same as eye to eye contact. That's the meaning of ليس الخبر, being getting the information. ليس الخبر كالمعاينة. It's not like being in person, face to face. And also, we have to make a sacrifice. We have to make an effort for whatever we want in life. If we don't make an effort and come out of our comfort zone, then we will always be stuck in our comfort zone. And when you look at that, the scholars of the past, they used to say, لا ينال العلم براحة الجسد. Knowledge will not come by just relaxing at home. Knowledge will not come by you just taking a seat back. You have to go out and you have to look for the knowledge. Scholars in the past, Imam al-Bukhari, he traveled for miles and sufficing on date. And when those dates ran out, he used to eat the leaves, crumble the leaves from the tree just to get one hadith. And today, subhanAllah, we have everything at the tip of our finger. But, what makes it beautiful is that we can have this discussion. We can have questions and answer. We can have this interaction that is precious. It is valuable, whereby, whatever knowledge is being taught in a classroom setting, it gives an appetite. When you're on the phone, sometimes your eyes get tired. Sometimes when you have a question, you don't have immediate response. Sometimes there is no drive, motivation when as opposed to being in person. And so many of our scholars, they have always favored in-person teaching and learning. In that way, you are, seeking authentic sources. That's one. And number two, you are acquiring your knowledge from someone whom you know, someone whom okay, this is their style of teaching, and this is my confidentiality in that person. You trust this person. Because on the internet, sometimes when you read, you don't know where the source is coming from. You don't know who's this person, but the content looks nice. So these are some of the advantages of being in person.
You mentioned the clock sounding tick-tock, and it scared me a bit because it reminded me of a very famous hadith narrated by Anas ibn Malik in which the Prophet ﷺ said, لا تكون ساعة حتى يتقرب الزمان فيكون سنة كالشهر والشهر كالجمعة وتكون الجمعة كاليوم ويكون اليوم كالساعة. He said that the hour will not come until time physically shrinks, until a year feels like a month will feel like a week will feel like a day will feel like an hour will feel like that of a burning bush. And I think
Absolutely.
that, stuff like that really does scare me. And I can feel the barakah leaving and escaping my body when I waste time on that social media. So I think you're right on the fact that sitting in a classroom face to face, I would surely be able to bring that barakah back into my life.
Of course, I think quality over quantity too. You have quality experience with a teacher, not just a lot of information being accessible on the internet, but quality information as well. And you can only find this by being face to face with a teacher, asking questions. And I think our teachers in the past, they always try to upkeep this type of style, and it have been very successful, alhamdulillah.